Admittedly, there are a lot of things which confuse me in life. Low-rise jeans, algebra, the correct pronunciation of scone. But nothing has caused me more perplexity or bafflement than the continued employment of one Mr. Chris Grayling. Officially, he's the Minister for Transport, which means that he's the guy in charge of making sure your trains are cancelled, or making sure your tickets are more expensive, or making sure that £14 million contracts are awarded to companies for ferry services when they don't actually have any ferries. But unofficially, Chris Grayling is more of a ministerial chaos entity. He has blithely bulldozed his way from welfare to justice to his current post, making a series of catastrophic and eye-wateringly costly errors, for which ultimately the public has footed the bill. His programme of cowboy privatisation in the prison sector resulted in £467 million extra being paid to community rehabilitation services, £15 million extra being paid to Carillion, and he splurged £72,000 of taxpayer dosh on defending an unlawful ban on books for prisoners. If this makes you angry, please calm down and don't be too harsh on the guy. Chris Grayling is the first Justice Secretary in history to be appointed to the role without having a law degree. Truly, a trailblazer in the field. And in case you're worried about a Minister of State being merely incompetent, don't worry. Chris Grayling has a track record of malevolence too. He introduced criminal court fees, which resulted in 100 magistrates resigning over the matter. This rule, requiring that defendants convicted at magistrates' court pay £150, but defendants convicted at Crown Court pay over £1,200, put pressure on innocent people to plead guilty. And it was even considered so draconian by Michael Gove that he scrapped it when he succeeded Chris Grayling in the post. His brutal cuts to the legal aid system meant that 40% of domestic violence survivors wouldn't be able to access financial help for their legal representation. And what's more, he set up the Ministry of Justice's commercial arm, which took a £5.9 million contract to deliver training in Saudi Arabian prisons. Yeah, that's the same Saudi Arabia whose criminal justice system still publicly beheads people. In 2.5 years as Minister for Transport, Chris Grayling has overseen an utterly dysfunctional rail system in which the Virgin East Coast franchise collapsed, 1 in 10 Northern and Thameslink trains were cancelled during a shift over to a new timetable last year, and just last week he's had to pay out £33 million of public money to settle a lawsuit with Eurotunnel over, well, you guessed it, no-deal Brexit ferry arrangements. In an attempt to evade an urgent question in Parliament this week, Chris Grayling got Matt Hancock to stand in for him at the Commons. Now, let that just sink in. There is a politician in existence today who can make Matt Hancock look statesmanlike by comparison. All in all, it's been estimated that Chris Grayling has cost the taxpayer £2.7 billion, and that is at a time where our public services, our NHS, our social care system, our councils have all been cut to ribbons under 9 years of austerity. Let's put it this way. For the price of one Chris Grayling, you could build 15 hospitals, you could hire over 117,000 nurses, all paid at median wage. You could give 7 million people in this country Botox, or you could buy for every single person in this country 1 gram of MDMA. That's not even counting mates rates. Normally, when I do a video like this, I try and make some kind of broader point, linking everything together by talking about capitalism or media bias or institutional racism. But there is literally nothing deeper going on here. Chris Grayling is like Mr. Blobby. He defies all attempts at contextualisation. He just whirls through ministerial briefs, pulverising everything he comes into contact with, screaming his own name into the abyss. I genuinely can't explain this to you in any other way. That is my only way of making sense of it. I do not understand what's happening to this country. I'm out. Have fun with Brexit. Goodbye.